My first question for you today is, and this question's often asked quite flippantly, but I'd really like the real answer, which is, how are you doing?
I think when somebody says fine, they're lying. And so my instinct is to say I'm fine. I am going through some ups and downs. I'm in a period of flux, which is fine. That genuinely is good. I like a little bit of chaos in my life. It's where creativity comes from. And if I look back at my career, I would take a job, I'd have a fast-moving career, it'd get to a great point, it would plateau, and then I'd quit. And I'm sort of at that point. I love a steep learning curve. I love a difficult situation, and I like trying something new and building something. And so I'm shifting away from in-person public speaking, which I think surprises a lot of people. But recognize that I never considered myself a public speaker in the first place. It's just something I did to advance my cause. It was never my chosen career. So not doing it, as much as I enjoy it and I know is not that difficult. So what next is a little bit of an unknown. I have some ideas and I'm testing some things out, but I don't actually know where I'm going to go.
Why are you shifting away from public speaking? Give me the context as to why this is a sort of a pivotal moment.
There are multiple reasons. I consider myself a preacher. And when I set out on my journey many years ago, I was espousing a vision of what business could look like and what the world could look like, what our careers could look like that was different than the world that we lived in. Talking about purpose at work was some hippy-dippy stuff, and now it's a completely normal conversation. And I'm really proud to have been a part of that movement. And so when I would stand on a stage, I was preaching to people who had never heard of my work, who had never heard of these concepts, at least not explained the way I explain them. And I was converting audiences, and the good news is the movement has its own momentum. And I don't know how many, I'm converting vastly fewer people now when I walk into the room. Now they're looking for tools. Now they're looking for, which is great. And so I want to now pivot myself so that I can start having significant impact again, so that I can start affecting greater change, not just maintenance. The personal side is different. I know that mental health is a big and important topic right now. And I had a conversation with somebody recently, and I've realized I actually don't like the term mental health. It sounds like a fixed destination. It sounds like, if you don't have health, like if you're not perfect, there's something wrong with you. So any kind of divergence or sadness means you're imperfect, right? And that's not true. And I think it's an unfair standard to call it mental health. And I think, because at the end of the day, like, think about your body when you go to the gym, right? We call that fitness. And some days you have good days at the gym, and some days you have bad days at the gym. Some days your body feels amazing, you can lift huge weight. And some day, for whatever reason, you got enough sleep, you're eating well, you're hydrated, your body's just not working that day. And we're all familiar with that. And it doesn't really bother us. You're like, bad day today. And you move on. And you allow that to happen. But we don't treat our mental fitness the same way. Being a human, you are 100% mentally fit if you have sadness, and if you have joy, and if you have doubt and uncertainty and insecurity. That's what it is to be human. Like, your body sometimes has pain. There's nothing wrong with your body. And so I like to call it mental fitness rather than mental health, right? I'm always working on my mental fitness. Mm-hmm. And I allow for periods of darkness. So right now, when you said, how are you? The space that I'm sitting in is I'm actually feeling quite lonely. Mm. And I learned about how to manage mental fitness during COVID more than I ever had prior, because we had to deal with so much shit, right? And so prior, I would have been embarrassed by saying I'm feeling lonely. I would have hid it, suppressed it, don't like negative feelings. Whereas now, I'm just sitting in it, not worried about it. I'm allowing it to go through me, like I'm allowing myself to have a bad day at the gym. And weirdly, even though it's not necessarily fun, weirdly appreciative of it, because it makes me human. It just reminds me of a story. Earlier on in my career, I was invited to speak at an event, which is the Association of Meeting Planners. So there's an American Meeting Planners Association, whatever it is. Right. Literally everybody who hires speakers from every big company and association has their own association, and they come and have their own event. So to get invited to speak at this event is like, if you nail it, your career is set for the rest of your life. And if you blow it, your career is over, right? Because like literally everybody who hires all the speakers for all the big events is in this room. And I got invited. Huge honor, right? And I'm this back in the Start With Why days, and I'm good at Start With Why. Like I've done this thing probably thousands of times. I know my stuff. So I get up there, I'm doing Start With Why, and I lose my train of thought. It's okay. I'm a professional. I know how to deal with losing your train of thought. You go quiet, you relax, you get your thoughts back, and you pick up where you left off. It's happened before, no problem. So I do what I know how to do. I go quiet, and nothing comes in. And now the panic starts. Now the heart starts pounding. Now my life is flashing before my eyes. Now I'm recognizing, oh my God, my career is over, you know? And I look at my pad, and I look at the audience. I cannot remember what I was saying. I don't know what to say next. I don't have a joke. I've got nothing. I've just got panic. So I turn to the audience and I say, do you ever have that feeling, that sinking feeling when you lose your train of thought, where your heart starts pounding and your hands get clammy and your life flashes before your eyes? I said, I'm having that right now. And I'll tell you, I am so grateful for that feeling right now because it makes me feel alive. And the audience exploded with applause. I said, right. Now, if somebody could please just tell me what I was saying so I could pick up where I left off. And somebody screamed something out. I went, thank you. And I picked up and I finished. The point was, I could have suppressed the panic, but I was open about the way I was feeling. And what I learned was everybody was there to support me because I acknowledged that I'm human and it's relatable. And so that's how I feel right now. I'm more open about being in a darker space in the shadows right now because it makes me feel quite frankly normal. It makes me feel human, and it's part of mental fitness, you know. And if I didn't have off days or off weeks, then how would I know what to work on? You know, how would I know what good looks like? How would I know how to appreciate the happy days if I didn't have some days that were down? So I'm weirdly grateful for what I'm going through right now.